Hi guys, welcome to my channel where we talk books, writing, and making money from the arts. I also share snippets of my life as a published author based in Kenya. Today, I want to have a little chat. There's this thing that entrepreneurs like to talk about when asked about their journeys or how they began. They will say stuff like, I am a self-made man. He or she will say that, or someone else will say that, and they will not correct them. Or they will say, we all have 24 hours in a day. I will sleep when I'm dead, and my personal favorite. I started this business with X number of shillings, which is often a ridiculous amount, like 5 sok, ama ngiri tatu, ama thautano. And I'd like to interrogate that statement because first, I don't think you can start a business with just that amount and nothing else besides that. But more importantly, I think entrepreneurs who do that negate or ignore the contributions made by family and friends, especially at the beginning of their journey. So let me give you a typical example. So you start a hustle, maybe you're making clothes, jewelry, bags, perhaps it's fruit juice or some other food product. And what normally happens at the beginning, you channel most of your resources to make the actual products, which then leaves the question of where and how to sell these products. Remember, we're talking about businesses started 15 or 20 years ago. During that time, unlike now, the internet was in its infancy, at least in this part of the world. Social media was not available, online selling did not really exist, and the mobile phone revolution was still years away. But DAS undo these, which are commonplace today, and do all sorts of deliveries, were not there then. So you needed a space to display your products and a phone. But a landline was generally very hard to get. Does anybody remember that story of Kenya Posts and Telecommunications? I mean, those guys, they were acting like we are doing them a favor, and yet we want to give them money. Anyway, enough. The less said about that, the better. So how did most people solve these problems? Okay, you couldn't afford a fancy office for sure, and you probably weren't even driving, okay, but it gave you credibility to have a fixed abode somewhere, so that your clients and potential clients know that they are dealing with a real person, not a ghost. Now, since you were a good student when you were in college and you were paying attention when your marketing professor kept saying, your network is your net worth. I will repeat that. Your network is your net worth. So you look around your extended family and friends to see who can help you. So you approach an older brother or sister, perhaps a rich uncle who has a company in the industrial area or Nairobi CBD somewhere, and you ask, hey, uncle, can I be using your office to have things picked and dropped? And he says, actually, I'll do you one better. I have this tiny office at the bottom of the staircase or in some tiny dingy corner. Right now, we're using it as a store. If you're willing to clean it out, I can probably find an old desk and chair somewhere, and we can give you a telephone extension so you can make calls to your clients. And just like that, you have an office with a phone in a pretty decent address, you're not paying rent, and you're in business. The next thing that happens is you report there every day, you trek from wherever you live, maybe it's Githurai or diaspora, that's Ongata Rongai for those of you who don't live in Kenya. And so you leave home at 4 or 5 a.m. and you arrive at the office promptly at 7 a.m. to begin work. Now, chances are, having left home that early, you haven't even had breakfast. But there's a tea lady, and you look forward to that, mid-morning cup of tea at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And because she's enterprising and a hustler, okay, so she usually has mandazi or samosa or, chapati that she's selling on the side. And because you're broke, you make good friends with Wajiko or Aching or whatever her name is. And you tell her, listen, be giving me andao every day, and I'll pay you mwisho wa mwezi. But we both know your uncle or your brother is the one who will pick up that bill. So your brother has given you an office in a prime location rent-free, and he's also feeding you. Chances are you only have to buy yourself 1 meal a day because breakfast is catered for. Lunch you can ignore because you've learned how to rough it. Or maybe his wife gives him packed lunch. And once she discovers her brother-in-law is working at his office, see, atapack lunch ya watu wawili, because, that's how African moms are wired. They just like to feed people. The next thing that happens is you make calls for days and weeks and months, and maybe you don't even have a single customer, and then your uncle or your brother decides to help you out. So he calls the other uncle, or he tells his existing clients, hey, I have this nephew, please support the hustle. So they pick up a few things and they help you. So right there, he's helping you market your products. You don't think about that, but it's a valid contribution. And then slowly you start making sales and the orders are trickling in, and then you discover, wow, I need to transport these goods from the warehouse, or your house, or wherever you're making them, to the customer. So you decide to talk to your brother because he has this vehicle or the company car, and you're thinking, as it's doing the RAOs of the company business, maybe it can be redirected to drop 1 or 2 things. So he's like, cheers, there's no problem. And then you tell him, actually, I can help to fuel the car. And he's like, don't be foolish, Bana. See, I'm helping the hustle. So you're like, cheers. And things go on like that for a year or maybe just 6 months, and business picks up, and eventually you're able to relocate. And you have your own tiny little space, and you're so proud of it when you sign that lease with the landlord. And things are hard at the beginning, but slowly by slowly you build it up. You get customers mostly by word of mouth. Or maybe eventually you're actually able to pay a little money to hire someone to help you do your marketing while you focus on strategy and da. And now, here you are, 10, 15 years later, and you're this hotshot dude wearing designer suits and a gold Rolex. You're driving the latest model Range Rover. You're taking holidays in Santorini. And journalists like me are looking for you desperately. Every day we are chasing you up and down. We are calling you because we want to sit down with you and we want to know how you did it. And now here you are, and you're telling us, I started this business with Tautano. Okay. Please do not insult our intelligence. That already is bad enough. But even worse, you are refusing to acknowledge and to accept that there are so many people who helped you in this journey, in big and in small ways. And so for you to sit there and tell us you're self-made is the biggest load of crap I have ever heard. And for me, rather than be impressed, you just sound pathetic. You sound like someone who's not authentic, and most important, you sound ungrateful. And I can say that with authority because I'm not only a published author, I've been a freelance journalist for many years. I was a staff writer for the Business Daily, and I wrote many articles for The Nation and a couple for the East African. And during that time, I interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs, micro and small businesses, SMEs, and the kings of the world. The guys who run multi-million-dollar businesses, not Kenya shillings, dollar businesses. I have also interviewed the biggest names in business in this country as part of the research for a profile of Kenyan entrepreneurs, which is a book we co-authored with Evans Majendi, who was my college mate at KIA, or rather the BCom Faculty of Commerce. I have talked to entrepreneurs from so many industries, varied products, varied ages, and I can tell you without a doubt, all of them, when you thoroughly and critically examine their roots, you realize that there are so many people who help them on their journeys in big and in small ways, So I have maximum respect for entrepreneurs who acknowledge this and they say it. So to sit there and tell me you're self-made or put out meaningless statements like, oh, we all have the same 24 hours, which is essentially code for, if I can do it, why can't you? Stop making excuses. Cocky statements just guaranteed to make people feel bad. When I sit with an entrepreneur, I'm asking questions on behalf of the reader. You have so much that you can teach people. People want to learn from you. They want to know how you became successful. They want to know if you have solutions for some of the problems that are affecting them right now. In this economy, things are so rough. So more than anything, people want a little hope that whatever problems and crises they're having, that you too went through that. And if you can get from that to this, then there's hope for that person. So for me, I see an entrepreneur as a teacher. I want to sit at your feet and learn from you. Then I want to tell your story in the best way possible so that it can help someone else out there who's probably going through the same thing. So for me, it's about being authentic and talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we tried so hard to do that in a profile of Kenyan entrepreneurs. But sadly, there are a lot of people who don't want to talk about failure, which is ridiculous because, again, having talked to so many entrepreneurs, I can tell you this for a fact. Nobody gets to the top of the pie without a couple of jolts or failures along the way. It's just life. That's just the way it is. Okay? That thing of you start a business and you hit it big and just first those stories are A, boring, and B, they're like unicorns. They are very few. Your typical entrepreneur has ups and downs. And if they could tell you what it was really like, they would talk about the sleepless nights when they didn't know how to make payroll. They would tell you about the hide-and-seek games they played with their landlord. They would tell you about the times they were literally on hands and knees, begging their bankers, begging financiers, maybe even Shylock's, begging friends, begging relatives to help out with money or small loans to help tide them over when things were tight. They will tell you about the times they almost gave up or gave up, because some did give up and shut down businesses only to pick themselves up and dust themselves off to try something completely different when the entrepreneurial drive became too strong and it would not allow them to give up on their dreams. That level of courage, that level of vulnerability is something I can totally respect, because it is authentic, it is real. And I know media is part of the problem because we like these nice, sexy stories. When you're given 800 words to work with, maybe there's not enough time or space to talk about their failures. But I think we can still find ways to do that, because by focusing only on their successes, that's not the whole story. And it paints a very unrealistic and rosy picture of the journey, of what the journey of entrepreneurship is like. So if all we're doing is blowing the trumpet of these entrepreneurs, that's not journalism. That makes you their cheerleader in chief. And if that's the role you want to play, then you should be in PR, because that's not journalism. I think we're failing our readers, we're failing our viewers, and something needs to change. And honestly, guys, when you see this person earning millions and they're on social media and they're telling you, we all have the same 24 hours, tell them where to get off, or just switch them off, because, they're just playing with your head. It's just not true. Whatever you're struggling with, just understand that these guys have been there. They may not talk about it, but this is something they have gone through. So that's my beef for today. I hope that helps someone. It just felt good to get that off my chest. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And remember, whatever you do, whatever life throws at you, you keep on dancing, okay? Bye.